You tell me if that's enough flow. Alright, now that's all nice and dry, we just have to mark where the coolant flows through. No pressure builds up, nothing weird happens. And get these all nice and drilled out. I've got a 3/16 bit all nice and loaded up. Let's get her drilled. So I got all my holes drilled. I need to, still brush it off, make it nice and neat. But, yeah, I'm going to go outside and wash the block out. I don't need to bring you with me. It's just water in a hole. No big deal. Alright, got all the holes drilled. As you can see. These actually do flow quite a bit. You got to think, it's not just coolant going through these holes. The entire jacket is filled with liquid, and then it comes out here. So I mean, there's going to be liquid sitting in here that's being forced through the head gasket, through the head and all that. So it'll still flow. And yes, this is exactly how the head gasket stops. Holes, 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 holes. No holes. Okay, let's get into this. This is going to be some fun time. Alright, so I don't really have to touch the oil rings, but I do have to mess with the number 2 and number 1 ring. I have to clearance both of those. I have this. This is my piston ring filer, which should be tons of fun. Alright, so I'm going to do the others. I already did the number 1, and now I'm about to do the number 2. And I want to say I wanted to do that at, what was this at? 21? Oh yeah, 21, 23, 25. 21, 23, 25. Alright, let's get to grind. It's really tight. Alright, let's go to town. Alright, sandpaper. Just to get that burr off. Not only can that burr scratch up your cylinder wall while you're test fitting, not only while it's running, but it can also cause the rings to stick. Alright. Well, that one's good. Now, give me a second and I'll get it all set up and we'll put a piston together. Let's get these thrown in. First things first. First oil ring. Try to be as gentle as possible with these. These are the thinnest ones. Don't really like to be messed with. Now grab me an oil ring. Like I said, you don't have to gap these. You just have to fit them. Alright, like I said, I haven't built a car in forever. So I skipped one important part. Middle ring goes in first. Because if I can show you, well, you wouldn't be able to see it on there. There's a little lip behind this that prevents this little waffle from coming out. And try to alternate your seams when you put rings in. Like this one's here, and this one's here. Like you don't have to do crazy like 180 or anything, but you just don't want them stacked on top of each other. Number 2, right? Yes. There we go. And number 1. See how they're both together? You want some sort of offset when you go to push it in. Nothing serious, but now this arrow, most Hondas, this arrow goes to the flywheel. And the rod, those notches you see right there, those go to the exhaust side. Red line assembly lube. A little too much lube. Is that a thing though? I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and install the one side's clip already. To the exhaust side, to the flywheel. There we go. And clip this one in. Shooting it into my face. Because I've definitely done that before. There is one assembled. Sweet. Now on to the others. Alright. I got everything assembled. I've got the crank all nice and clean. As you can see. I got the block flipped over. I got the first set of bearings I'm going to put in. Got the girdle all nice and clean. The other bearings. I got to use some plastic gauge, just in case. I know most bearing companies aren't going to screw you, especially not ACL, but it's always a good idea to check. Alright, give me a second, we'll plop this crank right on in there. Alright, fits nicely. I'm not going to put the thrust washers in just yet, just because I have to take the girdle back off to lube up each and every one of these after I check for the plastic gauge. So, thrust washer goes there and there. That just prevents whatever is pushing on the crank, like your clutch, or if you have a killer torque converter and it builds pressure and pushes against, it just prevents crank walk and, grinding into areas you don't want it to grind into. Let me get some plastic gauge on each and every one of these, and we'll clean up the bolts and throw the girdle on and torque everything to spec and see what it looks like. Got my plastic gauge cut. I just need to set it on top and then plop my bearings in the girdle and we'll start torquing her down. See if we can't do this one-handed. I'll show you me just putting this on once. Just brush on a little bit, not a lot, doesn't need to be a lot, and then thread in. This is to help torque. But yeah, give me a second, I'll get them all in and then we'll start torquing down. 18 foot-pounds first, 37 or 38. I'll have to look for the second round. And then we will see just where tightness lies. Work your way out from the center, like boom, 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 and then boom, 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 boom. Kind of like that. Doesn't need to be anything special, you just need to do that.
I need me one of them.
Let that sit for a second. Then we'll back it off real quick. We'll measure the plastic gauge, make sure all these bearings are good and I don't have to order any crazy size. Let's hope. I got it all torqued out and then brought back up. As you can see, man, lighting sucks. So we're looking for the 0015. And we are right there at the 0015. And it's across all crank bearings. So we're good there. Now to move on to the rods. Got the pistons and the rods, everything in. Bores are still looking nice. It's looking nice and shiny. Actually has some weight to it now. Everything's torqued to spec. I didn't film putting those in just because I couldn't find a good enough angle that I liked well enough. So you'll just have to take my word for it that I put those in there. But I need my oil pump, water pump, and I still need to get my drain pan welded and all that, and then I'll put this all together, and then I'll put the timing assembly together. I'll get the head done and all that stuff, but that'll be later down the road. But yeah, that's all for now.